fatherless kids.
Alright, Fresh Ghost fans, we've got something special for you today. We're doing a mission from the Imperial Armor 9 book. This is a true Bad Ab War throwdown. We've got Cerberus with my Star Phantoms versus Muggins with his Mantis Warriors. We've got opposing sides in the Bad Ab War. And we're playing scenario number 1, Bellerophon's Fall. This is basically a capture and control mission where each of the objectives are actually my 3 HQ choices. I have, in that building, there's Captain Androcles hanging out with his Devastator squad. And we've got a Storm Talon here hiding behind there. And we've got another Devastator squad with Dreadnought below it, holding Bellerophon. And the Mantis Warriors actually have quite a bit they get to put on the table, 6 inches away from my guys. They're on the other side, so let's take a look at the Mantis Warriors deployment. Alright, here we are with the Mantis Warriors deployment. We can see they have a Terminator squad with the captain inside a Land Raider, ready to run down my Devastator squad with my captain. Taking cover in the building right there. Here he is. I do have a Mortis Pattern Contemptor. We are using Imperial Armor units, except for this Dreadnought right here is not a Contemptor, it's just a standard Dreadnought. But we are trying something out for our local tournament scene. We're trying to see if having a 0 to 1 unique allotment for all Imperial Armor units is going to be feasible and fun. That way we can't spam things like Lucius Pattern drop pods. We also have a Scout squad hiding in the ruins right back over there. So we're going to get started here in just a second. Because the Star Phantoms start with more units on the board than the Mantis Warriors, the Mantis Warriors are going to get a +1 on their roll to see who goes first. So we're going to tune back in the after the top of the first turn. Alright, here we are after the top of turn 1. You can see the Terminators have advanced quite a bit. That's because they walked right through the Devastator squad. All Muggins shooting. Actually, not all of it. The multi-melted from the Land Raider just one shot, one killed the 230-point Mortis Pattern Dreadnought. So I'm still not going to see what that thing can do in a game. Some of the other shots from the Land Raider as well as the Dreadnought on the other side of the building took out a couple of my Devastators. They actually failed the morale test, and because the scenario doesn't say where my falling back units would, which direction they would fall back to, we just decided they're going to fall back directly away from the unit that made them fall back. I did not roll a very high number though, I only rolled a 6, so my captain and my lone Lascannon Devastator only managed to get 3 inches away from the building, which was still within assault range of the Terminators, and predictably the Thunderhammers squished the captain pretty badly. Then they spread out because there are 2 plasma cannons sitting in this building right here. He doesn't want me to hit any more than 1 at a time. So we're going to move on to the bottom of turn 2. Oh, and night fighting is in effect for the remainder of the game. In this scenario, at the beginning of every game turn, you roll a d6 on a 4+. Night fighting is in effect for the rest of the game. And of course, predictably, with my shooty army, we get night fighting in the first turn. So let's tune back in the bottom of 1. Muggins is leading 1-0. Alright, here we are at the bottom of turn 1. I had an Ironclad dismount from a Lucius Pattern drop pod, and scattered back too far for him to actually make the assault, so he's not even going to try. We have my other Dreadnought came out from behind cover, and my other Dreadnought in a drop pod, just a multi-melted Dread, came down, and the Storm Talon zoomed around the side to take some side shots on the Dreadnought. Unfortunately, all my shooting failed to even scratch the paint on any of Mike's models. Terminators all made saves from Plasma and Heavy Bolters and Heavy Flamers and Lascannons, and Multi-Melted Dread predictably missed, like he always does. I think I'm going to stop putting him in my list. And the Storm Talon's missiles and assault cannon shots just bounced right off the side of the Dreadnought. So we're going to go to the top of turn 2 and see what else Mike can take out. It's still 1-0. I'm playing some tactics with this scenario, keeping my 2 other HQs in reserve in drop pods, which is basically the only way that they can be in reserve in this scenario. It allows anything that deep strikes to come in from reserve as normal. Because I attach them to both my squads in drop pods, they're going to be coming on the board a little bit later. So I'm playing a little bit of the kill point denial. See you at the top of 2. Alright, here we are after the top of turn 2. There's been a lot of shooting over here. My Storm Talon has been knocked out of the sky. Took an awful lot of shots though. Land Raider's assault cannon and the land speeder with crack missiles finally took it down. The Dreadnought in the building here, my multi-melted Dread, was taken out by the other multi-melted Dread right there. So we didn't have a Dread on Dread face-off in close combat. Would have been fun. Scouts took some shots. The Storm Talon over here as well took some shots, and unfortunately were out of range or ineffective at shooting. And the big one was right here. The Terminators moved up to try to set themselves up for a three-way multi-assault between both my Dreadnoughts and the Devastator squad. Since he was assaulting the Devastators, he needed to roll for difficult terrain and rolled Snake Eyes. Could not assault even one of the Dreadnoughts, so maybe fortune is starting to turn in my favor just a little bit, and hopefully I can whittle down these Terminators enough to do some serious damage to them. We'll turn back in at the bottom of 2. Hopefully some of my reserves come in as well, because I have an awful lot of melta guns sitting in reserve in drop pods. Alright, here at the bottom of 2, the Terminator squad in the middle has been whittled down by an awful lot of fire. Both my last 2 drop pods with my HQs came in. We got the Librarian here and the Chaplain over here. Everything's combat squatted when they popped out. Tried to split some fire here. Missed on the Dreadnought and shook the Land Raider. Back over here, like I said, the Terminator's been whittled down by a lot of fire, and then the Ironclad assaulted in. Did 3 wounds to the Terminators, but Muggins, predictably again, it's the word of the day, I guess, predictably, he rolled lots of 3s and 4s for his Storm Shield saves. And in return, he ended up shaking the Ironclad. Back over here, the other Dreadnought with his blast cannon and missile launcher just an inch out of range to shoot the Storm Talon with night fighting rolls. So let's see what other reserves Muggins has coming in. He's got his Storm Eagle loaded with Terminators. They're going to try to do an assassination run on my characters. So we'll see where it goes from there. Okay, here we are at the top of turn 3. The Mantis Warriors reserves have all come in. We've got Storm Talon gunships all over the board. A Storm Eagle full of Terminators flying in. Typical Mantis Warriors fashion. They set their trap and then spring it with lightning speed. The tactical squad with the Chaplain, whittled down by the fire. Chaplain decided to try to take some saves on himself and managed to die in the process. Some Terminators jumped out of the Storm Eagle, killed the rest of the tactical Marines who were fleeing. Some other shots whittled down some TAC Marines here and from this drop pod, but that squad is still okay. The Dreadnought over here got shot in the back by this gunship, and the land speeder actually blew up the Dreadnought. And then the Ironclad here is managing to hold his own against the Thunderhammer Terminators and the Captain. That AV-13 is great versus Strength 8. It's not looking good for the Star Phantoms. The Mantis Warriors are up 2-1 on the objectives, with the Librarian being the last one. So let's see if we can't slow down these Terminators something. Alright, the one piece of luck that the Star Phantoms are going to have so far this game. Notice there's no more Storm Eagle. It's because the Multi-Melta, hiding in his drop pod right there, managed to see it through the night fight, got a lucky shot even through the Ceramite plating, and blew it up. And unfortunately, that's all the luck we're going to have, because the Librarian and everything else here in the middle took some shots at the Terminators, whittled 2 of them down. Librarian charged in, little Librarian deathmatch, and Muggins Librarian came out on top. And yes, it's Librarian. We're saying that on purpose. And then here, the slap fight continues with even with Null Zone. We're making all these re-rolls and invulnerable save madness from the Captain. Took some shots over here from the Devastators as well, but nothing else happened. So let's see if Muggins can table me now. Here we are in top of 4. Okay, here we are at the end of the top of turn 4. Devastators took a couple shots from hovering Storm Talons. Speeder came around and tried to blow up a drop pod, but missed. Right now, Muggins is just going for kill points. He's just trying to mop me up. We lost a drop pod here. Storm Talons came around here and shot some Marines, and the Thunderhammers and Librarian right here came running through and multi-assaulted. Did absolutely nothing to the Ironclad. He is a stud, especially against Thunderhammers. Unfortunately, he can't seem to kill anything in return, but he's at least tying up the unit. Not that it's doing me any good. And then, again, back over here, we lost a couple Marines. We're going to go to the bottom of 4 and hopefully not get tabled. Because it is Bad App War, we are going to play to the death, even though the mission is completely out of hand for the Star Phantoms. We have 2 Devastators, an armless and immobilized Ironclad Dreadnought, and 1 running Marine, as well as 2 drop pods. So let's see if the drop pods can actually win the day, because the Dreadnought is in some serious trouble now. Yep, we're going to move on to turn 5. Okay, we're going to move into the bottom of turn 5 because I still have 3 models on the table. We've got a Devastator standing strong in the tower. Made something like 10 saves from shooting attacks. The Ironclad, still missing its arms. So it's just, kicking away frantically. And we have 1 drop pod left. Everything else is dead. So we're going to move on to the bottom of turn 5, and let's see if I can't salvage some measure of respect by blowing up another one of these vehicles. Alright. Still futilely trying to fight back. We stunned the Storm Talon, shook the Storm Talon so it cannot shoot. Also shook the Land Speeder so it can't shoot. And the Dreadnought, again, hit, wounded, he made a save. Captain, even though the Dreadnought is immobile, still cannot hit with his melt-to-bombs. He's been trying now for, I believe, 3 turns and hasn't done it yet. Everything else is still dead. So we're going to go back. We'll see if the game goes on. Go ahead, Muggins, roll it.
Goes.
It goes. 1 more turn for Muggins to try to wipe me off the table. This scenario always ends in turn 6 as the last turn. Okay, the Ironclad finally bit it. Melt-a-bomb, Captain. Good job. Finally wrecked the Dreadnought. And just about everything else that could fire laid into the Lone Devastator and the Storm Talon. The last thing to shoot at it took him out. Everything else actually missed. It was pretty intense. The Dreadnought, the Speeders, the Land Raider, everything was either out of range from night fighting or completely missed. But here we have 1 lone drop pod. So I will not get tabled today, but we'll see if this drop pod can do anything. We might as well just do it live. He's going to shoot 2 Stormbolter shots at the Land Speeder. Oh, cocked eye. That's 2 hits. Need some 6s. Nothing. Alright, so here we are at the bottom of 6 at the end. This was an absolute beatdown. Muggins had a great run of rolling saves again with the Terminators. That seems to be his tactic. Draw your fire with Terminators in the middle of your board, and then swarm you under with fast vehicles. The Storm Talons did a pretty good job. But again, good old Thunderhammer Terminators saved the day. They took, I believe, 2 of the 3 objectives by themselves. They killed the Captain and the Librarian in combat. The Chaplain managed to die to a freak shooting missed save. This was a great mission, a lot of fun. Certainly very fluffy. It's kind of stuff we like to do at Fresh Ghost. Real fluffy scenarios. Hopefully next time we'll be able to do something that's a little more my speed and a little less ambushy. Because, we pick missions for Muggins to win specifically because he can't win at tournaments.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
No, I would say this was my last game of 5th edition 40K, and it was really fun.
We still got a couple weeks. We'll see.
Thanks, Josh, for coming up and playing. And I think definitely 6th edition is going to be one of the most exciting 40K things, in I guess this year.
Well, I think obviously this year. Yeah. Actually, I don't know. These little buggers are pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I'm getting a huge kick out of them. I'm definitely in the market to buy a couple more for my own fleet.
They're really fun.
I don't think I'm going to go for the Storm Eagle. That's this Assault Ram maybe, but Storm Eagle not so much. Not really my thing. But tune in. We're going to hopefully do a series of these final farewells to 5th edition. I'm going to try to get some of the other guys, like Tau Forever, Dustin. Hopefully we can get him involved, and we get Gene Guard on some tape playing either as Salamanders or Orcs. But that'll be it from Cerberus and Muggins for the 5th edition Bat Reps. See some of the other guys in the next one.